So a common street fight position that you can find yourself in, whether or not this person has any fighting experience, it just seems to be one of those moves that a lot of people tend to resort to when they are in a street fight. It's a front headlock guillotine from the standing position. Now, we've gone over headlocks in the past. The difference with, let's do the headlock first. The difference with the headlock in this situation is even though he's squeezing real tight, it is difficult from this position for him to actually get a finishing choke. I am able to defend it a little bit easier. I can keep my weight down a little bit easier. My ability to posture and move around is a lot easier for me to get out of these positions because I have the ability to move so freely. The problem with this is if I'm not doing anything and I stay here and he goes ahead and puts the squeeze on, it's very easy for him to finish this move. I have to make sure that when you're in this position, there's a couple ground rules you have to follow immediately. First one being, I cannot stay on the same side that he's choking me on. Even if I try and fight and get to this side, I'm feeding him the choke and the ability for him to squeeze this even harder. So the second you get put into a guillotine, I have to start working my body to the far side of his body, which takes the pressure off my neck. Number two, I have to get control of this wrist. Now, again, I'm not expecting to be able to pull this hand completely free, but the ability for me to get my fingers in here and at least just put a little bit of pressure on his wrist makes it hard for him to finish this while I'm then working along and trying to get everything else finished from here. Get control of this wrist. My far hand is gonna come up and just grab whatever I can. If I can grab the back of his head, his shoulder, clothing, whatever I can get my hands onto, and I'm simply just pulling him down a little bit, sucking him closer to me, which makes it a little bit harder for him to get the choke finished because in order for him to finish this choke, he has to stay postured and hip into. I'm gonna pull him down, grab the wrist, lower my weight. At the same time, I'm gonna shuffle my body to the far side and at least just try and get my opposite leg behind his leg. Now from here, if we're simply just looking for a finishing technique from this position, I'm gonna hold on to the wrist, keep this here. I can start throwing knees to the back. I can take my free hand from this position because even if he starts squeezing from here, again, it's a little bit harder for him to finish. But I can start striking the groin, I can start striking the inner thigh, all while I'm still posturing and working myself now up to a straight standing position. From here, if I want to jump back to the same side, I can. I can lock him up from here. We can take him down. We can work arm bars. You have options on that end. Or you can simply just get into this position, and once you get up free, start working some of these close quarter tie elbows, and we break our distance. If we're going with a little bit more of an advanced person or someone that really has a solid grip, he's just really buckling down and I just can't break. I'm trying to throw strikes, but this person's really cranking it on me. I may have a better choice of just going to the ground. If we're looking to go to the ground, I'm still maintaining these grips. My far leg is going to simply reach for his bottom leg across. And as I reach for this leg, I'm simply going to take my hip and just drop down to the mat, same time that I'm pulling him with me. So as all together, we sweep and we just end up in this position. When we land in this position, a lot of times you're going to have guys that we call arrogant, and they're simply going to continually try and squeeze and get the guillotine finished from here. I'm not as worried about him finishing this guillotine. Yes, it can get tight. Yes, it may feel like there's a lot of pressure, but in reality, it's going to be very difficult for him to actually get a finishing choke. I want to make sure I get into side control. Again, he's still holding on. I'm going to take my same side hand, work that cross face, take my other hand, lock it up, and now I've got a tight gable grip. Now, because he still has this position, you notice how his elbow is a little bit inverted. So if I lock my hands and start pressuring my head and shoulder towards his, I'm actually going to get a tap out of this. And what happens is I'm actually putting a lot of pressure on his shoulder, a lot of pressure on the neck, and I'm actually essentially either breaking that shoulder or collarbone or getting him to choke out himself. So it kind of works against him. If he's going to sit here and be arrogant, try and hold on and think that he can finish me, I'll finish him at the same time. So that's one option from here. I start working towards this technique and all of a sudden I feel like his hand pops out. He may realize, oh, this person's trying to do something else to me, or I just can't get it, or there's pressure coming. Whatever the reason is, he's let go. Now I start feeling like his elbow's starting to push across, and now he's trying to frame and create that distance where in this sense he'd be trying to work himself free. If I feel that pressure, I'm no longer going to sit here and try and finish this because that choke is no longer available. I'm going to take my cross-face hand, bring it back out, trap behind his tricep. Same time, pop up with my back knee across his chest, keeping this nice and tight. I can also use my head as a pinch. My other hand's going to stay as a post. I'm going to start walking my leg all the way around. I'm going to start pinching my thighs together. Notice now I've got the one leg coming across his face. My other foot's going to be nice tucked underneath his back of his shoulder. I still have the pinch. As I come around, I can sit down and we can here and finish with an arm. Again, if I feel like his arm's coming down here, if I'm able to trap his arm and keep it up in this position, now I have essentially an arm triangle. So from here, if I'm lucky and strong enough, I might be able to get the choke from here. If not, I can maintain the control of this position. At the same time, I come up, I work my knee and belly, I switch to the other side, and now I can go ahead and finish the choke on that side again with an arm triangle. Last but not least, we fall, we land. He's not even holding on to the guillotine to begin with. So all those options are completely out the door. I don't have the ability to trap the arm. If we land and this person lets go right away, my best option to avoid any further situations that could unfold from this is to simply pop up, knee on belly. If I need to, I can start working some strikes in this position. Otherwise, I'm going to use that opportunity to get up, create some space, and get back to a standing position while this person's on the ground. I don't want to sit here. If we land and he doesn't have anything going on, he's instantly going to start framing, and now we might end up in this scramble position, which means I could possibly get into a worse position than I was. So at that point, just get to your knee on belly, do your strikes if you need to. Again, he's got the guillotine on. I come around, sweep, we come here, and again, depending on the circumstances, if he's here, we finish. If the grip starts breaking, that's fine. Come around, arm bar. We land, he doesn't have any grip. I pop up, throw some strikes if I need to, and we create that space. Whether or not you take the fight to the ground or you stay standing, just understand the options that you have available to you from a standing guillotine. Again, if you do end up taking to the ground, understand the reactions that this person may have, and just learn where you can go from there, and that way you're always kind of prepared no matter what circumstance you come into. So give them a shot, let us know what your favorite one is in the comments, and we'll see you next time.